My names are Deputy Inspector General of Police, Dr. Shehu, PSC. To talk about PRAWA, Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action, we have a very, very good rapport, good understanding, and good synergy between the police and PRAWA for many years. It is an institution that concerns primarily on respect of dignity and human rights, which the police are supposed to be part of it. And also capacity building to the police to enable them to perform effectively and efficiently in conjunction with the fundamental respect to the fundamental human rights as enshrined into the Nigerian constitutions of 1999. It's very, very beneficial, and at the same time in building capacity and enabling the police officers to perform credibly when they go out to discharge their duties. The police is an organization that deals with all kinds of human beings. When they come across a police officer, they deserve to be respected by police in ensuring not only their security and safety, but also in respecting their dignity and human rights. So in a nutshell, the training and retraining we are getting from the PRAWA is to enable us have police that will function and discharge their duties in a most standard and acceptable manner by members of the public. At this juncture, I want to say kudos. Welcome to the Nigeria Police Force online training.
In this class, we shall be looking at human rights as it directly involves you, the police officer. Of course, this topic is really very important because it directly affects you as a person. It is not only citizens that have rights. You, as a law enforcement officer, you also have your own rights that needs to be protected at all times. So that's what we are going to be looking at in this particular module. And of course, the course title is Rights of Police Officers and Human Rights in Police Administration. Now, the objective of this particular module is to promote the understanding that police officers also do have rights, which they are entitled to enjoy. And of course, at the end of this training, it is expected that the trainees, that's the police officers, you that is watching, would be able to know your rights as a police officer and thus encourage greater support towards observance of human rights and the general application of these rights. Now, first and foremost, it is important to state that every police officer is entitled to all rights described in this manual. That's very important to stress. All the rights you are going to read in this manual, you are entitled to enjoy it. It is fundamental to you and is accruable to all humans because first, you are a human being before you are a police officer. So this section is an aspect that is not usually considered within the context of human rights, but it is really very important. The idea here is to consider the administration of the police as well as the circumstances created by the society and the police authorities for the performance of police duties by police personnel is really very important because in the discharge of your duties as a police officer, there are rights you are supposed to enjoy. These rights are also fundamental fundamental, because when these rights are not being enjoyed by you, it can hamper or affect the way you discharge your duties. So consequently, like all these other human beings, you are entitled to the enjoyment of human rights, both inherent and conferred. Inherent are those fundamental human rights that nobody can give to you, that it really belongs to you. For example, like any other citizen, a police officer or a policewoman is entitled to the right of life. That is fundamental. The right to dignity, that is fundamental. The right to freedom, freedom from discrimination, freedom from any form of discrimination. So these rights are fundamental and inherent. So we're going to take these rights one after another. The first one is the right to life. Here, the issue is that the police, by the very nature of their work, are exposed to the dangers to their lives. You know, because of the kind of work you do, you are exposed every day to dangers out there. When you go out there in search of criminals, going after criminals and bandits, your life is at risk. But you have the right to life. So when you are sent out there to fight crime, when you are sent out there to fight terrorists, to fight bandits, it is necessary that the state that is sending you out to maintain law and order equips you. By equipping you, it means that you are provided by the necessary arms and ammunition that you need to discharge your duties. Because your right to life may be in danger when you don't have the necessary tools for you to work. So it is really very important that the state should provide all necessary arms and ammunition that you need to provide to be able to do your job in order to ensure that your life is not at risk. The second one is right to dignity of the human person. This appears to be the most abused of all rights associated with the police administration in Nigeria. This reached its highs with the neglect of the police force faced progressively under the military. You understand that progressively the quality of life or the dignity of police officers has been degrading over the years. It continues to fall below standard. As a police officer, you have the right to the dignity of the human person. It means that you need to be treated fairly. It means that you need to be taken care of in terms of your remuneration, your salary, your allowances. In fact, the place you work, your offices, your accommodation. This is really very important. This abuse ranges from poor conditions of service in terms of remuneration of police personnel, to housing, to uniform, to all other things, allowances that is supposed to come to you. These things are not really being provided, and this is not supposed to be so. So we are actually advocating that the police force personnel, we need to do more in order to equip them so that their dignity to the human person will be enhanced. The third right they're supposed to enjoy as a police officer is freedom from discrimination. Freedom from discrimination. As a person, you are supposed to be protected from every form of discrimination, be it religious discrimination, be it ethnic discrimination, be it in terms of social class or social status. You are supposed to be treated impartially and fairly. The problem of discrimination is going to be looked at from three different perspectives. The first one is the position of policewomen. The second one is the quota system in the force. And the third one is going to be looked at from the prism of ethnicity. Now, the policewomen in the force, how do we look at them? Do we discriminate them on the basis of their gender? Do we look at them as the weaker vessel, and because they are women, we don't treat them equally the same way we treat our men? In terms of quota system, we've seen where police officers who are juniors are being promoted ahead of their seniors because of quota system. What do we think this is going to engender in the police force? Of course, it's going to engender things like people are not going to be happy when they see their juniors being on top of them in the service. So it is important that in terms of being able to promote police officers, we don't consider things like quota system. It has to be on merit. Now, ethnicity is also another key point we need to look at. People from different ethnic groups in Nigeria. The police force is one police force. It is called the Nigerian police. It is not people are not supposed to be discriminated against on the basis of where they come from, or on the basis of the God they worship, or on the basis of their social status. Everybody is equal, and it is important that there should be no form of discrimination based on ethnicity, whether you are Hausa, whether you are Igbo, whether you are Yoruba, or you are Ijaw. Everybody in the police force must be treated equally as one Nigerian police force. Going forward also, we look at things like corruption and human rights. The state shall abolish all corrupt practices and abuse of power. This is really very important. By the very nature of the work you do, corruption seeks to confer illegitimate advantage of both the giver and the taker. Now, you're supposed to be unbiased in the discharge of your duties. When you now collect some form of gratification to do your job, what will happen? It means that you will now tilt the level playing field in favor of the giver of the bribe. And this is why it is important that corruption in the force must not be condoned in any way. In the case of the giver, he will be receiving a benefit or advantage which he might or would otherwise not have been entitled to but for the corruption. So it is very critical and important that in doing your duties, no form of corruption should come in. The issue of human rights in relation to the police in Nigeria has been considered from three perspectives: human rights and criminal justice administration, and of course, human administration and corruption and human rights. So in this course, what we have tried to look at is your right as a police officer, and we've listed them: the right to life, the right to freedom from discrimination, the right, of course, for you to be treated like a person, not based on where you come from or based on the God you worship. This is really very critical. So at the end of this course, I want you to go through your slides, read through them because it belongs to you. From there, you'll be able to even know more about this course. When we go into the next module, we'll be able to look at more issues on human rights. Thank you.